Hello and welcome to the Gold Newsletter. Welcome to a breaking news special. My name is Kai Hoffmann. I'm the @JR Mining Guy on Twitter. And together with Brien Lundin, I'm your host of this channel. And I'm looking forward to this company update with Ian Harris of Outcrop Silver. He's the president and CEO over there. And the company released some drill results this morning. Some results we definitely need to talk about because they hit up to 6.9 kilograms of silver in one of their holds, and we need to understand where that is coming from, what's the context, and how does it factor into the overall business plan of the company. Before I switch over to my guest, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously, and it is much appreciated. Now, Ian, back to you. Good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining me for this breaking news special.
Yeah, always a pleasure, and to be able to give some more detail and background on the news. So very excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Run us through the key highlights. Like, what was the highlights of the press release, and maybe some of the highlight intervals, and then let's talk context.
Yeah, so some of the big numbers. This is a follow up about a month later of actually the discovery hole at Aguilar, and I can give some context. But overall, first of all, is hitting a very large intersection of over 6 meters at 800 plus grams of silver equivalent. Put it into context, our overall resource is about 400 plus grams, so much higher grade and very large, wide interval on the intersect, including an area of about 0.6 meters at almost 7 kilograms. But we have additional holes. And that's the nice thing. It was a set of about 5 holes, and each one of the holes was getting very nice intercepts. We had a meter at 900, at 1.6 meters at 700, 1 meter at 1.2 kilograms. So the Aguilar vein is really starting to pan out, and it's just a section of a total of a 1.8 kilometer strike on that individual vein.
Fantastic. How does it correlate with some of the other results you've had in the past and the discovery hole in terms of grade? Is it sort of a continuation of what you've seen before?
So overall, we have about a 15-kilometer corridor within the current title area, and the majority of the resources up in the northwest. This is a very big step out, and so there's about 7 different veins in the original the maiden resource. And so we actually see 2 types where you have a consistency across the vein, and then you have others that have these really blowout high grade, and it's a little bit more spotty, super high grade, and then maybe low, and then super high. And this is very consistent with some of the other veins where there is a consistency throughout the vein. So, but it's actually looking to be a little bit higher grade than we've seen in some of the other areas, which is quite exciting. And with that 6 meters at 900 grams, also seeing this potential that it's holding grade consistently throughout the vein, but also has the potential to blow out into what we call ore shoots. So what's big for me is that it's a significant step out from the resource area. What we're trying to show is the potential of the entire corridor, and still seeing consistently high grade silver results, because Santa Ana is the second highest grade resource in the world, right? So that's a big part of the characteristic of the project, and a true primary silver project. So it's showing that even halfway through that corridor, that we're still seeing the same type of results, which is obviously very exciting.
Oh, 100%. I was just looking for a quote in your press release, and of course I can't find it when I'm looking for it, but I think it was from your VP Exploration. He was talking about potential of discovering more blind veins, and that's exactly what this was. Like, run us a bit through that concept. Like, what are you seeing? Like, what are your expectations from that? Because it's quite exciting.
So we have a series of targets, and something I look forward to is actually we're probably going to put out news of how the regional and this target generation is going. So we have up in the northeast, we have a resource of 37 million ounces, but it's only a small section of the overall corridor. We have certain that we've identified. These are now drill ready targets. We have a big inventory of them, but we're continuously generating more. So especially as we take these big step outs, more work gets done on the ground, more prospecting, more mapping, more sampling, and you want to generate. And so when you finally put that drill into the ground and you start drilling, what also is exciting is you all of a sudden hit other structures. We had a small structure identified that's actually we had a good hit on, but in between we're also finding additional structures, which is this blind vein that hit and showing grade potential. So this is one of those serendipitous additional good news that you have. We're very scientific in our approach and how to develop and actually convert something to a drill target. And then sometimes you get surprising news that you hit things that you don't have a outcrop on at surface, and you hit something brand new. So that's always exciting that you can have these serendipitous type results.
How do you do the targeting? Like blind veins, of course, they, as you said, they don't outcrops. Question now is like, how do you target? Like, of course, that was a bit of a lucky hit on that part, but like in general, like how does the targeting work for blind veins?
Well, we don't target blind veins. That's why they're
I know.
blind. But
No,
we
it's
do
like, it's like
see,
in general the
obviously,
targeting, of course.
in general, right, we have significant structures, and I don't want to get into too much detail, but we seem to have two. We have one that's very subvertical and one that's more of a subhorizontal, are the major structures when we identify targets, right? But there's many times there's splays or ones in parallel, right? And maybe they didn't outcrop, or you don't see the outcrop, right? Because there is coverage, right? So when we end up drilling, that's why you always drill and try and go into at an angle to get the best intersections. You can, in that process, be intersecting additional structures. And you always have a tendency to try and drill past your actual target to make sure that there's nothing sitting behind it. So it's the approach that also provides additional geological knowledge. And every so often you hit one of those parallel structures that you hadn't previously interpreted.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Like it's an interesting discovery because there's lots more to see and lots more to do. And I know one of your two drill rigs is testing further extensions. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's one of the nice things. So in first we said our main target is Aguilar, but now that we're getting nice results, my number one goal and the exploration team's goal this year is demonstrate a pathway to a much larger resource. So now that it's converted from discovery, we know that if we keep drilling on it, we can drill out resource. So now we can get the ability to jump and go on and test additional targets, right? So having these results in hand allows us to execute on our strategy, right? I want by the end of the year to be able to demonstrate, okay, look at this overall structure. We have 37 million ounces sitting up in the northeast. We've hit here, we've hit here, we've hit here throughout the structure that allows us to go in and follow up and then now focus on resource drilling, right? I want to convert that inventory from prospect to target to drill proven, and now it goes into a resource category where we're drilling to create resources. So having these successful results really, puts wind in our sails that we're executing on that strategy, and we can start testing and use that additional drill to start testing additional targets. And so that's what we're doing. Right.
So how much are you being guided by the results that you released today? Did you have to wait for them to target again, or is that an ongoing process for you?
Well, the nice thing in Colombia is that we get a pretty quick turnaround. I mean, it's only a week or two to get results, and normally it's how many holes do you wait to actually ship to the lab, and it is pretty visual, right? We do get a pretty good sense, and you made a comment, in the chat that we should have put out some core photos, and we'll probably, that's a good idea. We'll make sure we'll get it on social media, et cetera. But you get to see it, right? You have a pretty good idea of when you're hitting decent grade. You don't know the exact grade that's going to come out, but you know when you're into grade. And so really we have a plan. We have the targets we want to do. We have drill holes obviously laid out, but results adjust that plan, right? Where, for example, now we took the decision, now move that drill to the site. We hit this, these look good. Let's move the drill to a new target because we got some wind in our sails.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And, when you expect the next set of results from that area to come out, like, is there a bit of a timeline? Is there anything you have in mind?
Well, we're continuously drilling. From the initial hole to this set of results, it's an additional 5 holes, right, which is pretty exciting. But now it's honestly, it has a little bit to do with marketing and summer doldrums. But my goal is to try and get out a release on a monthly basis to get a set of holes out and get news out to market. Is the overall goal, right? So it's not like it's seasonal. Now that we have 2 drills running, I hope to keep at least 2 drills running from here until a very long period of time, until establishing a much larger resource. Hopefully silver continues to help out. Equity markets continue to help out, because I'd like to even have more drills turning on this project. It definitely deserves it.
Yeah, it seems like the markets are picking up a little bit. Just what I'm looking when I open, my press releases in the morning, and it seems there's more activity here in general. It's also on the fundraising side. So I'm curious if that continues throughout the summer, or if it was just a blip on the radar screen with gold hitting all time highs as well. Silver is still lagging, so we'll have to see silver catch a bit here shortly as well. I hope. Ian, it's like one more thing. I've seen the second drill, the second drill rig is at the Guadal target. I hope I said it properly, but we haven't talked about that target yet. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit. What are you targeting there? What's the goal?
So Guadal is a northern target in the same Aguilar system, right? So we're trying to hit, what helps is we've hit a southern region of that overall structure, and it's now the northern part of it. So the idea here is never been drill tested, etc. But you can then see, okay, in this center region, we got some nice hits. So it's very similar to Aguilar. And it might even be the same structures. That's something that we'll actually have to find out through drilling. But the nice part is, again, it's a big step out, about 1.5 kilometers north of these current results. So again, it's sort of like putting the pieces into a big puzzle, but our goal here is to be able to put enough pieces on the table that people can see how we're going to solve the puzzle to a much larger resource.
No, fantastic. Like, one thing I always ask you, Ian, and maybe I can nail you down this time, is timeline on the resource update, on the much larger resource update, just to quote you.
Oh, no, you caught me in a bullish mood because we just put out a whole bunch of results. But I really think, again, the drilling we're doing this year is not focused on developing an updated resource, right? It's to fill out where we're going to be drilling out that updated resource. But I'm now getting the confidence that I can see a pathway by sometime next year. We're going to be looking at an updated resource. But I don't want to do it until I can really show that we're taking larger skips into the overall resource size. That, this is this one, and then the next ones could be even bigger. I don't want to do small little increments in the resource updates, because it can be confusing to market. They kind of think, oh, there's a pin in it, right? Oh no, it won't grow very much. And I think that the potential of the Santa Ana project isn't to grow 20%; it's to grow 3 times, right? So I want to make sure that when we do an update, that we're showing a big incremental steps, and that is based upon continuing with 2 drills, and I'm hoping that market improves and we can add additional drills and accelerate those timelines.
No, fantastic. Ian, classic last question. What's the next news release going to be?
So I think the next release is explaining how we do all the additional targets that we're generating. So obviously, when we take these larger step outs, we're gaining more geological knowledge. It gives us a presence within the area, and to demonstrate, I want to be able to show to market how we generate targets, the target inventory we have, the work that we're doing on our ground to build confidence on how we want to make a significant increase in the resource and what that pathway looks like. So the next release, I think, will be explaining the new targets that have been generated, some of the work on the ground, and then it would be followed up. Obviously, we're going to have a continuous news flow and additional results. But I would expect a maximum 1 month period. We're definitely going to get out additional news.
Fantastic.
Maximum,
Ian,
right?
No, phenomenal. Like, really interesting results. I love seeing high grade hits, like 6.9 kilograms. I definitely can't wait for you to put those photos up on social media, because I'm curious what 6.9 kilograms of silver looks like, because it is over a decent width, actually. It's not just a little nugget.
Yes.
It was over 0.63 meters. So a nice interval, chunky interval. So I'm curious what that looks like. Ian, thank you so much for your time. Fantastic update here on the drill results from Aguilar. And of course, looking forward to more drill results coming out from that area and from the extension drilling as well. And everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in here to the Breaking News Special. We were joined by Ian Harris. He's president and CEO over at Outcrop Silver. Company released some drill results this morning. Really worth following up and taking a closer look at. Make sure to go over to their website or go co.ca and all the other platforms where you can get your news. And we'll be putting this out very, very soon here as well. If you have any questions, put them down below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with lots more here on the Gold Newsletter channel. Thank you so much.